magazine. Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Getting ready to get away.
It's a Monday.
That's why I'm a professional. That's the difference. It's ready to start a full week of June.
Oh, I can't even believe it. Yeah. It's the 5th already.
Yeah, a lot of summer camps going on. And Brittany, it's interesting that I have a list of the summer camps. You can see a bunch of them here. And this entire page is full of summer camps and what's going on. I've contacted every one of them, and nobody's gotten back to me. So
I guess they're not into self-promotion.
Yeah, whatever it is. But there are a lot of great summer camps going on. We want to tell you more about them just as soon as they tell us what's going on as well.
So hopefully we'll get in touch with them at some point.
Yeah, boy.
Maybe when camp's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be good. But maybe they're not used to people actually asking about their camps and getting good publicity.
That could be it.
Yeah,
definitely could be it.
Well, welcome to another week of fun and frolic as we continue to destroy America from the Democrat side.
I don't know. I think the Republicans are helping out quite a bit.
Well, maybe. Our Congressman Buddy Carter was in town over the weekend. Had a chance to talk with him, have an exclusive interview with him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about the vote that they took last week and how disappointed I am because with Republicans like these, we do not need Democrats voting for more spending, uncapped spending at that. Didn't get rid of the 87,000 IRS agents, didn't cut spending anywhere. So not real excited about this bill.
Well, at any rate, Buddy does defend that and says that that's not actually true. So we'll find out.
Okay.
Well, Buddy, it's been a busy week, but as Ricky Ricardo used to say to Lucy, you got a lot of splaining to do. What's going on?
Well, first of all, we finally got the debt ceiling raised, and let's make sure we understand there's a difference in raising the debt ceiling and raising the debt ceiling responsibly. We feel like we raised it responsibly. Was it everything we wanted? No, it was not everything we wanted. You never get everything you want in negotiations. However, it's a good first step in bringing back financial sanity to Washington, D.C. Look, you don't take a carrier and just turn it on a dime. You just got to be, you got to be very dedicated to it. You got to be very careful and make sure you get it right. And we feel like we've done a good job here. It's not everything we want. We got a long ways to go, but it's a good first step.
What do they say to the critics that say, look, you've given them a blank check till 2025?
No, well, nothing could be further from the truth. We've capped spending. We've capped spending for the first time in decades. We made sure that non-defense spending is not going to go up. In fact, it's going to go down. That's significant. We've had permitting reform. That's going to help our economy grow. We've had reforms to SNAP and to TANF so that we can get work requirements in there for able-bodied adults so that we can lift them out of poverty. We've clawed back money from COVID-19 that hasn't been spent yet that we needed to. We're going to keep the president in check in two ways. One, with the student loans, they have to start back within 60 days when this law is signed. Secondly, now, instead of just executive orders for him to spend trillions of dollars, he's got to follow the same rules and regulations that we do in the House, and that's the pay-go rule. So that is, if he's going to spend money, he's got to identify where it's coming from.
And what about the 87,000 Internal Revenue Service agents?
Well, that was one of the biggest disappointments I think that we had because we were able to stop it for this year, but we're going to have to go back next year and the following years and stop it again. Wish we could have stopped it permanently, but we can't.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting to see the different sides of the aisle that Kevin McCarthy was doing, was dancing on the podium, and the other side was saying, "Oh my God, you've ruined America, but we're going to be able to pay our bills."
Well, look, we need to keep the full credit and faith of the United States intact. We all understand that. However, we were able to do that, and we still got some wins. Did we get everything we wanted? No. But we got we got to begin it. We got to start.
What about the dangers we're hearing now from the Chinese and everything else? So they're doing a lot of saber rattling these days, and that our military is way behind, and all they're concerned about is whether or not they're going to have woke dancers,
Absolutely.
gay
Listen,
celebrations.
We've got to keep the military in check. I'm not a big Austin fan. I'm not a big Millie fan, to be quite honest with you. But we've got to keep the military in check. This wokeness that has infested our military needs to go. The Chinese Communist Party is not our friend. They are our enemy. They want to overtake us militarily and economically. We need to understand that, and we need to fight against that.
Well, of course, we're hearing all about this AI stuff as well.
Yeah, that is really scary, really concerning. This AI stuff, if we don't get it under control before it gets started, we're going to be in a mess.
Yeah, and of course, as a pharmacist, you have to understand that we want our manufacturing of our
Absolutely.
of our pharmacy
Pharmaceutical
bags from
independence is necessary for national security. Food independence is necessary for national security. China's buying up all our farmland. We stand aside and just let that happen, shame on us.
Well, it's and they say they're buying farmland near military bases.
Exactly. Yeah, it just so happens that it be just like the balloon just so happened to fly over military bases. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. At what point are we? What are we doing about that? I think is what we're.
Well, in my opinion, this administration is not doing enough about it and not doing anything about it. It's just ridiculous. But we've got to address that. That's why we've got this select committee on China. That's why in the Republican majority in the House, we are addressing this.
And we keep continuing to come after Donald Trump for everything, spitting on the sidewalk, and yet the Hunter Biden thing continues to get bigger and bigger, and we're finding more and more about the FBI is not cooperating with you guys at all.
And thank you for mentioning the FBI, because I'm going to tell you, Christopher Wray is going to be held in contempt of Congress. If he does not turn over the documents that he has been subpoenaed for, he's going to be held in contempt of Congress, and that is going to be serious.
Okay. Well, keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. I know you're going to get brickbats from both sides, pal.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thanks.
All right.
So what do you think?
I don't think he did enough explaining. I think that they have a $4 trillion blank check. So whatever cap he's talking about, I'm not really sure. Why we couldn't go back to pre-COVID spending is beyond me. We are no longer in any sort of emergency situation. Why are we not back to 2019 spending? Mm-hmm. It also came out this weekend that McCarthy is the one that offered the 2025 extension, which he sold us out. He did this without most of the Congress being there. I think that it's shady. I think they sold the American people out again, and that's what the Republicans do.
Did it on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate that Buddy thinks that, it's the right thing to do. However, at the end of the day, because Republicans are so good at negotiating away any sort of leverage that they have, the American people that keep voting Republican, we feel like we're being cheated. Mm-hmm. The government keeps growing under Republican leadership. I don't understand what we're doing, Bill. I don't understand.
Yeah. Somebody tell them they're in the majority. That's all I can say.
Well, the other thing that they did, Bill, that really upsets me is that we had a congressman from the state of Tennessee who was a sponsor on a bill to reverse the pistol grip act that Biden did 2 weeks ago. That really it impacts women the most because the pistol. I'm trying to think of what they're called. Let's see. Stabilizing braces. They've made those, they've banned them. So it's going to criminalize about 3 million people in this country, a lot of them women. And so he put a bill forward, to make sure that that didn't happen and that those people were protected. And they took it off of the agenda this week because he voted with his constituents. His constituents did not want him to vote for this bill or the rule that no amendments could be made. That's the other thing that they don't tell you, Bill. Mm-hmm. There was a rule put in place that no amendments to it could be made. That is a huge problem, and it shuts down the voice of every single congressperson that was not in that room. It's wrong.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. There's a lot of that, and that is another one of those steps that they're taking to get rid of your gun rights and obfuscate the Second Amendment. By the way, that we're talking about China not being our friend. We've had another one of these incidents where U.S. military released video today of a close encounter between the Chinese Navy ship and an American destroyer in the Taiwan Strait over the weekend. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command reported China's unsafe maneuver on Saturday, but didn't release the video footage until this morning, which a Chinese Navy ship can be seen cutting sharply across the USS Chung Kun. I think it's interesting that we have a ship in our Navy named the Chung Hoon. That's just me.
Are you? Who named it?
The destroyer had to slow down to 10 knots to avoid a collision. And when you're talking about vessels of this size, this power, you don't turn on a dime, okay? So the U.S. Chung Kun, the Canadian frigate HMCS Montreal were conducting a freedom navigation transit in the strait between Taiwan and China's mainland, waters that are considered international to the U.S. and its allies, but they say is exclusive economic zone to China, and which is what they're claiming. But these two ships were very, very close to colliding. They came within something like 150 feet of each other, and that is that may sound like a lot, but not when you're going at that speed with that size, and that gap could close within a half a second. So
it also shows you how quickly we could go directly into a kinetic war, even though they're saying that we're not there yet.
Yeah. And the worst part is that that they continue to do this, and we continue to do nothing. The Russians just shot down a drone of ours just recently, and what did we do? Nothing.
That sounds about right. I mean, do nothing or do damage. That's basically all these people do.
Yeah.
Lizzie Warren commented this morning. She's like, "Ask Buddy about the books. I put the flyer in his hand. The flyer is terrible. I'm sure you've seen it about the pornographic books in the school." And then Buddy is a party man first and foremost. His constituents come second to the party decrees. I don't disagree with that, Lizzie.
Well, we got some more stuff from Buddy as well.
Yes, and China is calculating what to do with Taiwan. The window of opportunity closes when Biden is out of office. And that means that the timer is on. Although Comey came out this weekend and was like, Biden has to be the president again for 2024. I was like, okay, these people are delusional. I know. The Comey, the old FBI
Oh, that
guy.
idiot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it ought to be, he and the rest of his constituents ought to be in Leavenworth. I'm sorry, I was confusing it with James Comer.
Yes. I was like, no. You're not thinking of the right person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He hadn't been in the news lately. Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, Biden has to. If they continue to destroy America, Biden has to be the president in 2024.
Yes, and Jack Dorsey actually came out and endorsed Kennedy this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
So very interesting shift we're seeing. I don't agree with Kennedy on everything, but he is definitely a brighter bulb in the Democrat Party, in my opinion.
And won't have any trouble, and despite the fact that he has a problem with his voice now. And I don't know exactly what it is that he has.
I'm not sure what it is either.
But he can't, in a normal debate, he wouldn't be able to stay very long. But since the president's not going to debate, they're not going to dare put him on a debate stage. He ain't got anything to worry about.
Yep, exactly right.
All right, coming up next.
Well, there's been a lot of pride going on, and we'll talk about what's going on in Italy.
Yeah, there's a lot of pride in Italy, and it's much better than what the pride we have here. Coming up next. At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here this morning, and we are proud to be here. We are proud of America. It's Pride Month. We're proud to be Americans. We're proud to be straight.
Yeah, I also heard that it's American Exceptionalism Month as well. So I think that people are really trying to take the month of June back.
Yeah, ask the Dalai Lama about American exceptionalism.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think it's any different from Greek exceptionalism or British exceptionalism. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kami Pinko.
Yeah, well, I think that we need to get back to our roots here in America, and I think we need to figure out why it's so great to be an American. And maybe that means that people need to go to other countries and experience what it's really like for other people that don't have the freedoms that we have here.
Yeah.
Well, and we don't even have all the freedoms that we should have. So.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And they keep getting rid of more of them every day. Meanwhile, over in Italy, here we go. Let's take a look at Spaghetti Land and see exactly what's going on over there with Pride Month.
Give me a second. I've got to find it again.
Their definition of pride and ours is just a little bit different. And and a pox on both houses of anybody that approved that Savannah police badge that we're seeing now in the city hall on all this pride acceptance crap.
Yeah, well, you can thank your Mayor Van Johnson, who's probably going to win a second term, which I don't think is good for Savannah. But, I will tell you, the Republicans have not done their job in this county.
Boy, that's the truth. Yeah, but as for the Italians, things are different.
We're so happy everyone because I don't really see some different stuff coming out. People are so angry. But I think family is a great thing to celebrate.
Yeah, our people are not getting all these special privileges and they're not asking for equal rights. They're asking for privileges. It's that simple.
They're asking to be special, though.
Yeah.
But I think celebrating family is something we should get back to in this country because I do think it's the number one indicator of success in this country is having a stable family life.
Speaking of families, we may not be able to have much of anymore. Have you seen the studies about how testosterone levels have dropped by 50%?
Yeah, you can think what they've been putting in our food and water for that since the 80s.
Yeah, so let's just, it is something that is being completely ignored by our media. But what else is new?
Yeah, look at all of these people, Bill. Just such a, heartwarming thing for me to see, especially since Italy got a new leader over there just in the last year, I believe. So really exciting stuff in Italy. I do think that we should really focus on that here at home.
Yeah. Having gone over there when our son was stationed at Naples at that joint military command base, and we traveled around, of course, over there they call it Napoli. Because they don't speak English as well as we do. Okay. But nevertheless, we were walking, we were traveling around, and you would pass by. It's interesting how they do city taxes or taxes for the country. You will drive by, and some of these places, like these churches that we see, in many cases, you drive by, and the place on the outside just looks like a rundown slum practically. You walk inside, and there's opulence galore. Absolutely pristine. You could eat off the floors. It's absolutely gorgeous. They get taxed by the tax guys don't ever go inside the buildings. They just look at them from the outside and decide how much they're going to tax them. So if the place looks run down and not worth a damn, they don't get taxed as much. So
Oh my gosh.
it's crazy.
Keep the outside bad and the inside good.
That's right. So some of these places they look kind of run down and worn down. You walk inside and wow, it's like you're stepping into another world.
Interesting. It's kind of like a speakeasy, right?
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, for sure. But that's how they rate the taxes. So they don't do a lot of upgrade to the exterior, but more the interior is something else.
I have not been to Italy, but it's on the list, Bill. But
my wife's been a couple of times. She was able to go when I was in radio. We had these thing called ratings.
Oh yeah,
and so I couldn't leave during rating period, which unfortunately was half the year. I mean, two rating periods of 3 months each, and so she got to go over a couple of times while our son Bobby was still stationed over there in the Army, and she got to go to Venice. And one of the things that she said when we saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa, she was surprised how small it was. Everybody always says that. When they see these places, I can remember as a kid talking about the Capitol Records, which was co-founded, by the way, by Savannah's own Johnny Mercer. They have their recording studios are in Hollywood, and there's all these pictures. I see iconic pictures of the Capitol Record Studios called the Capitol Towers. It's a round building. It looks like it's 3 or 4 stories high. And I actually got to when I was in California for a convention. We actually drove by the studio, and I was like looking, and I looked up at it, and it looked like a small apartment building of some sort. I said,
that's it?
That round Holiday Inn in Charleston looks bigger.
Oh, wow.
Which for those of you who know, right there on the Cooper River in Charleston. And it's just, wow, or maybe it's the Ashley. But nevertheless, I was just stunned how small it was. And Pam was saying the Leaning Tower of Pisa ain't very big.
Yeah, my grandparents complained about the noodles. They weren't cooked all the way or something. My grandma's like, it's not like American Italian.
Well, yeah. Well, they cook them al dente, but the pizza over there is amazing. I mean,
she did say that.
Yeah, and you walk by. I mean, just about every place you can walk down the street, and there's the little hole in the wall place pizza, and they do what's called I think Rapunzel or something like that. Kind of like it's the Italian version of siestas. And about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right after lunch, they close down. I mean, you can be shopping in one of their stores, and they can say you need to leave because we're closing. Well, I'm about to buy something. I'm sorry, you can buy it after we reopen. They close up. They go. It's not a bad idea. Have you ever noticed how sleepy you are sometimes after lunch?
Yep. Because you just need a power nap, right?
So they do these power naps. They like to say the Mexicans call it siesta, and they call I want to say Rapunzel, but that's the fairy tale about the girl that grew the long hair.
Yes.
But it's a similar word to that, and so but they do the same thing. It probably means a relaxation or something along those lines. But they close. Most of the shops close right up, and.
Yep.
They have specialty shops. They don't have like big department stores.
I love that.
You walk down the street and there's nothing but neckties. Another one and the next one is just underwear or whatever. And in fact, that is where the guy who started the CEO and inventor of what's the women's apparel lingerie place that's so popular. It's an old Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
That's where he got the idea. To have all these. And he said, why don't we put all these together in one place? And that's where he got the idea for Victoria's Secret.
Oh, interesting. Well, our friend Lizzie says Spain too has siesta. It's sacrosanct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I will say, I do think that.
Well, since Mexico was settled by the Spanish, once upon a time. Yeah, they always talk about how we took over America from the Native Americans. You folks in Mexico, you're speaking the language of a defeated nation.
Yep, exactly, Bill. And I don't know, when you look at some of this stuff, Bill, I will say as Americans, I think we work too much. We're very unhealthy. I don't think we enjoy life like they do in some of these other European countries. I won't say all of them, but some of them.
Well, the food's fresh every day.
Yeah. Well, they also don't put the garbage in it.
Yeah. They have street markets, and you see the people out there shopping. They shop every day. We saw the fish that were sitting out there, under ice. So they're out there shopping all the time, and the food is fresh, and the pizza is outstanding.
Well, and every time someone comes back from Europe, they say they feel so much better. The second they start eating American food, they feel like crap again. I'm going to drill that home that they're doing something to our food.
Well, maybe when the Chinese take over all of our farms, we'll be eating Chinese food.
We'll be eating bugs and crickets and Bill Gates' Impossible Burgers.
Yeah.
Yuck.
So, yeah, for sure. Which, by the way, they've done all the studies, and they are terrible.
Well, weren't you telling me about like cricket's milk or something? I don't know. You were telling me about something.
I heard roach's milk.
Oh, roach's milk. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Trying to get you to drink that.
Yeah, they were telling you how much better it is for you. Okay, you first. I'm right behind you. You go ahead.
So are you an almond milk drinker or a milk drinker?
I do both.
Okay.
But it's because almond milk stays longer. I agree with the dairy industry that said they need to quit calling this stuff milk because people think it's actually almond flavored milk. It isn't. It's not milk at all. That's what they're calling it because it looks like it. But I mean, I think it's tasty. I like it on cereal or something. I don't drink it straight for the most part. But on cereal, once you put a bunch of berries and a little sweet and low in there, you're ready to go.
Oh, Bill,
but
I'm not a huge fan of
But I prefer milk, real milk. Yes.
Me too. Whole vitamin D milk.
Actually, I have the 2% stuff.
2%. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I don't know, Bill. I'm still upset about this debt ceiling stuff. I can't even believe that they passed
it. What else has Buddy got to say about this?
Well, I mean, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, I think it's not fiscally responsible. No. So it's just laughable that he brings this up.
Just remember everything that they tell you in Washington when they come up, the Inflation Reduction Act. The Affordable Health Care Act.
They're lying to you in the title.
That's exactly right. It's exactly what the opposite of what they tell you it is. So, Buddy, what do you have to say about it?
Welcome to this week's edition of Buddy's Briefings. We're coming to you this week from the Capitol in the Rayburn Building, and specifically from the Government Oversight and Accountability Hearing Room here. Now, I served on this committee my first session in Congress. It was the Oversight and Investigations Committee then, but it's the same thing. We'll talk more about it in just a second, but first, I want to acknowledge this past week, particularly Monday, Memorial Day. What a great weekend we had. Sunday night, we were at Emmett Park in Savannah for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. What a great ceremony. Monday, we were in Jessup in Wayne County for the dedication of the Wayne County Veterans Memorial Park, a great project, a beautiful project. I encourage you, if you're in that area, stop by there. It's right in front of the hospital. It is beautiful, a great tribute to our heroes. Later that day, we went over to Brunswick to the Veterans Park, and then later that night, we were at Taps for Twilight, which is always such a treat to be at. What a great way for our district to honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day, and we should do that every day. Now, back to the government accountability and oversight. The reason I chose this week is because Congress has jurisdiction, complete jurisdiction over the FBI. This committee has subpoenaed the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, for records from the Biden family. He is not complying with that. Speaker McCarthy said this week that if he does not comply, he will be held in contempt of Congress, a very serious offense. Remember, in our commitment to America, we said we wanted a government that's more accountable. Well, we're going to be making sure that that happens. He needs to turn those records over. If he doesn't, he'll be held in contempt of Congress. He'll be in a lot of trouble. Again, Congress has complete jurisdiction over the FBI. He should give those records to the committee. The American people deserve to know what those records contain. That's why we want to have a government that's accountable. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me.
So there you have it.
Yeah. I would like these people to start actually doing what they say they're going to do. I don't want them to play by the rules in D.C. I want them to go up there and do the will of the people. I don't think people are okay with more taxes and continuing to raise the debt limit and to...
More Chip Roys.
Please. Chip Roy, Matt Gaetz, please bring more of them. Byron Donalds. Mm-hmm. He's amazing.
He is.
Florida man. their list is so good. I'm like, we need more of those. Like, where are our...
got a strong bench down there to the side
I know,
of
we
us.
need to build our bench here.
Yeah, for real. All right, coming up next.
Well, what do you think we should be doing? Working harder, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Are we?
Yes.
Let's find out. At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us, because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Monday already. Happy Monday.
Yes, and we're just as happy to be here as we were last week.
Yeah, sure are. You can feel the excitement, can't you?
Yes, I am happy to be here, but I will say, I think that we love our country always, but we only respect the government when they deserve it, or support our government when they deserve it, and they definitely do not deserve it right now.
No, they don't. Governments tend to get tyrannical. The Founding Fathers knew that. That's why they put in the Constitution. And when you heard, if we had a media in this country, and we don't, and they taught civics. Still, if you remember, there were videos back before even the Dalai Lama was even elected president, in which he was saying he didn't like the Constitution because it was too confining.
Oh, goodness.
I said, well, yes, that's the reason that it was written. They wanted it to be confining, sir, so the government couldn't run rampant. And that's exactly what it was. It's supposed to be. It's just like if you have a football field, for example, but pick the sport of your choice. What do they have? Rules. They have boundaries. Mm-hmm. You cannot step out of bounds and continue to advance the ball. You have to cross the goal line in order to score.
Well, and without rules, what does it create?
Yeah, and let's say they change the rules every day. So, well, this guy kicked a field goal from 60 yards out. Let's make that 4 points today instead of 3 points, and Team X wins the game.
Yeah, sounds like a bunch of chaos to me, Bill.
Yeah, that's exactly, but which is what we have.
Yes, we do. And I think that, I don't know, I think that people need to, a lot of people want to ignore that the government could do this. And they want to ignore that, maybe the government, the people that we have elected don't know best.
Well, and that's the case. And the fact that a lot of Americans sit home, what's the turnout rate overall for elections? That most of these elections these people are elected by pluralities.
Yep.
And not by a majority. Not by a true majority.
In a general election, it's about 12%. Presidential elections are higher, but
not by much.
No, and municipalities are next to nothing. So.
And these are the people that run your lives. And you sit there and complain about the regulations and everything else. Well, pay attention. These people, who wrote the regulations?
Yep. Well, and if you like the pride badge that our officers are going to be wearing here in Savannah, you can thank the mayor, who is an elected official who controls the police department.
Yeah. So,
I mean, they impact everything, and I don't think we realize how much control they have over the city or the appointments that they can make. So one bad appointment can really do a number on a city.
Yeah, for real. And we have lots of them.
Yes, we do.
It is really sad.
Yes. I think we have more government in Savannah than,
And the worst part is that we could have better business in Savannah. Trying to do business with the city of Savannah is almost impossible for a lot of people.
It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, you stand in line for hours. I mean, we've been through this process, and they have one open window for businesses. One. And you can't renew online. So for a renewal, you have to go into the office and wait in that line. Small business owners do not have time in the middle of the day to go do that.
Yeah, and they got a woman that answers the phone. If you get past her, she loses her job immediately. So it is pathetic what they go through. I talked to a friend who had to open a business in Charleston. He said, there's nothing to it. A friend of mine who actually had a nice gun store and hunting supply store here in Savannah, wanted to expand, wanted to make it bigger. And he said the hoops of fire he was having to jump through, finally went out to Garden City and opened it out there. And he said it was a piece of cake working with the Garden City officials. He said it was as easy as pie.
Yeah, but I will say that I don't think Savannah's done a great job of, they've started to sell out a little bit, in my opinion. They've allowed SCAD to build that huge building over by the river off of, you can see it from the bridge. Yeah. But they did have a height requirement, and as soon as, you're outside the boundary now, you have this huge building. I don't like to see the city of Savannah change, and I think we're seeing it change over time, and I think it's, it interrupts the integrity of the city. And
you're losing, they've been threatened, actually, of losing the historic designations from these national organizations and one of the reasons that 12 to 13 million people come here every year to visit, there's a reason for that, and it took us a while to catch on when we saw what Charleston, again going back to Charleston, my second hometown, of what they were doing and how they were preserving buildings where we were tearing them down. And finally, it took a group of ladies, for example. Women are the ones that get things done.
I was going to say, surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise! And the Davenport House was the first one that was saved when they started the saving of Savannah, and it was done by the Levies and some of the others. A wonderful Jewish community here that wanted to preserve a lot of Savannah. They used to have a big department store downtown. In fact, that's where the SCAD library is now. The old Levy's department store, and it was a wonderful, wonderful facility. But they said, we need to preserve this instead of tearing it down. We don't need glass high rises and everything that you see in other cities. So you can't tell Houston from Atlanta, Atlanta from Cleveland, Cleveland from San Francisco. Of course, you can now, but that was but we're talking 30 years ago. So it is vital for us to save this, and thank God we have people that visit Savannah and a pretty good Chamber of Commerce here that is trying to preserve Savannah and fighting the politicians that are trying to destroy it.
Well, and Lizzie Warren, we have quite a few comments this morning. How about honoring the military sacrifice by not raising the debt ceiling? Agreed. Buddy's response to me, this is from Steve Stanton, Buddy's response to me when Trump was arrested, no one is above the law. When Biden caught with boxes in storage, silence. Best news of the weekend, Chuck Todd is gone. He is leaving NBC. Departing, yes.
F. Chuck?
Yes, he
Where
is
is he
leaving.
going? Leavenworth?
I don't know where he's going, but he is scheduled to leave Meet the Press, which is very exciting.
Give me a minute.
Bill's just sharing
Who
the
cares?
news. Well, actually, I think it's good. It means that there's a lot of pressure going on with the media.
Tim
That's what I
Russell's rolling
think.
over in his grave.
Yeah.
Russell, is a little bit on the Democrats, on the Democrat side. But brother, I'm telling you, he was hard on everybody.
We need that to come back in this country.
That's for sure.
And then the Thompson Hotel is an eyesore. I don't disagree. So, a lot going on here in Savannah.
Well, they give us these promises. In fact, that federal building that they built downtown about 20 years ago, they said was going to meet all the historic, and it looked like it became what was known as Savannah's shower stall. So now they're about to tear that down because it's only money, and it's not theirs, it's ours. So they're going to tear. I think the problem is they're going to tear it down and build another one or something. I don't know, or some sort of renovations, maybe to make it look more historic.
It's here's the other thing. We deserve the government we vote for, and unfortunately in Savannah we don't have a lot of options this time around, and it's sad for the city. But the good news is this is Van Johnson's last term. Yeah,
Republicans can step up to the plate if you want to.
We're working on it. We are definitely working on it.
Yeah, but we need to.
Yes. Well, PragerU always does a great job, and they had Tim Pool come in and talk about working harder.
Congrats. You made it. You finished college. You got good grades. Okay, passing grades. Now you're going to get a good job. Okay, a job. In 20 years, maybe you'll pay off your student loans. After working for another 30 years, you may finally be able to retire and take that cruise to Aruba you always talk about. And then, you die. What a joke. Is this really what God or the universe or your mother had in mind for you? Who decided this is the path to success? The woke colleges that teach you almost nothing of real value? The corporations that need well-behaved worker bees to reach their quarterly targets? The government that takes half your income and then wastes it? I'm here to tell you that there is another way. I know, because I'm living it. I dropped out of high school at 14. I worked minimum wage jobs when minimum meant something. As in, next to nothing. I lived out of my car and camped in parks. And yet here I am, one of the most watched personalities on the internet. I employ a bunch of people, and I make more than the minimum wage. How did I get here without a college degree? As someone once said, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. My parents owned a coffee house in Chicago. I did a little bit of everything. And while I was cleaning, cooking, or cashiering, I was also soaking up the banter. Learning about culture, politics, and why Jason hated the Republican Party. That was my education. I didn't have some grand plan for my life. Actually, I didn't have any plan. I just worked hard. Whether I was handing out extra crispy fries at the drive-thru window or freezing my ass off hauling luggage at O'Hare, I was always excited about what I was doing because I knew my next job and the one after that would be better. In my early 20s, I began a career in activism. I fundraised on behalf of Greenpeace and other environmental nonprofits, and I was damn good at it. In fact, I was always one of their top fundraisers. But I walked away when I discovered that the green these organizations claimed to care about was not the environment. Around that time, rumors began circulating on the internet about something called Occupy Wall Street. The plan was for thousands of people to storm the streets of New York because they felt that the rich were being bailed out during an economic crisis they caused. Meanwhile, the middle class and the poor were being crushed. It seemed interesting, so I thought it was worth checking out. I bought a round-trip bus ticket to New York, planning to stay there for a week. I stayed 6 years. Multiple times a day, I would live stream and post photos of what was happening. When the epicenter of the protest at Zuccotti Park was raided by the police, I began what became a 22-hour straight live stream. Time magazine picked up my story. My career in media had officially begun. I was receiving phone calls, emails, book offers from every media organization you can probably think of. But I had already learned my lesson. I did not trust that they knew what they were doing, especially with new technology. So I went independent. I worked my ass off, I reported on anything I thought was interesting, always posting. Now that I had built a foundation, I had leverage. I went to Vice. I didn't ask them for a job. I told them the job they would make for me. They agreed. But as corporate media began to change and embrace the cult-like ideology of wokeness, I realized I couldn't stay there. If I wanted to tell the truth, I had to do it myself. Fast forward 6 years and I now have my own media empire. The Timcast Network has over 4 million subscribers, over 1 billion views, and 2 songs on Apple's top 10 list. And yeah, I'm still working my ass off. In short, I trusted myself more than I trusted my teachers or my managers or the people running the companies I worked for. Whatever value they assigned me, represented by a report card or a title or a paycheck, wouldn't have an impact on my success. How about you? Do you believe in yourself enough to chart your own course so that you can one day do what you really want to do? For me, it's working for myself. For you, it could be getting to the C-suite of a Fortune 500 corporation, or staying at home and raising a family, or becoming a cattle rancher. There are a million good options. I'm not going to make any judgments about what you want to do. My life-changing advice? Well, sorry, I don't have any, except maybe this. Work, keep working, and then work harder. I figured it out. Your turn. I'm Tim Poole, host of Timcast for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
So Tim Pool is one of my favorites, and I think that his success story is the American dream, right?
Yeah, exactly. And notice it comes from people who are inside and amongst members of these left-wing organizations. We call Greenpeace, we call these people the watermelons. They're green on the outside and red on the inside. They are left-wing communist organizations that are trying to destroy this planet and this country.
Yes, so work and work harder. I think that that's great advice. And
believe in yourself.
Yes, and on that note, we'll be right back.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Check it out. Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here as we head down the home stretch on this Monday morning. And
yes. Always something fun going on.
Yeah. What's it like to be having fun anymore?
I don't know, Bill. I'm the person that goes to Atlanta because I think it's fun to go tour the Capitol and listen to what our representatives are doing. So
yeah, boy,
my idea of fun is probably not the same as everyone else's.
It's right, yeah, for sure. It's a dream come true for me too.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we're seeing on the right is that they're coming up with their own ulterior way to make money and to stop giving money to companies that hate you.
Yeah.
And one of those industries that's been really hard, I think, to tap into is the movie industry. Really hard for conservatives to get involved in that. I think the Daily Wire has done a good job. They've done a couple of films and have done well with them. What Is a Woman is actually free on Twitter right now. I don't know if you've seen it, but one of the most amazing documentaries I think that we've seen, because Matt Walsh is, he doesn't put his own spin on it. He just asks questions in his matter-of-fact way, and I think it makes people very upset that he does it. But I thought the way that they did it was very interesting, and I think they did a good job. I don't know. Have you seen it?
No, but I'm familiar with Matt Walsh. He has a radio and a podcast and a radio broadcast as well that's carried out at WTMA in Charleston. It's not carried here yet, but he is extremely erudite young man, also under fire from the left. He has to have bodyguards for his kids and security for his house because of these left-wing loons who care so much about free speech as long as they agree with what you're saying.
Very tolerant people, if you ask me.
Yeah, the tolerant left.
Yes. But The Sound of Freedom is a film that was done, and it's the same person that did Passion of the Christ, but they've had a really difficult time getting it into theaters. So it will be available on July 4th, which seems very fitting. But this movie is about the trafficking that's going on in our country. And I think that there's a reason that they don't want this kind of thing out there.
Jim Caviezel's in too, who played Christ in Passion of the Christ. Yeah, Jim Caviezel, one of my favorites, who was in a wonderful TV series called Person of Interest. That was one of my favorites. And the last couple of seasons they ruined it, but the first 2 or 3 seasons were fantastic.
That's what they've come to do, is just ruin everything, haven't they? Anything we enjoy, and then they just make it woke and we hate it.
Yep.
It's really fun. So we have the preview for that movie.
Yeah, take a look. There's the trailer.
How many pedophiles you caught?
288.
How many kids you found?
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time with a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
How long you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you caught?
288.
How many kids you found?
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into her room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job, and you go and rescue those kids.
So at this moment, she could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA. She's a major operator.
It's all rebel territory. No one goes in. Not the army, not the police, not us.
What if this was your daughter?
There's no Marine unit coming.
You're on your own. This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
Wow, pretty.
Yeah, astounding.
Well, and I think the thing for me, Bill, is that the trafficking in our country, I don't think people realize how much we are actually contributing to it, especially with what's going on at the border. And our friend Lizzie actually brought up the point that I was going to bring up, is that the Biden administration is no longer doing DNA checks to confirm that the children being brought across the border belong to the adult, and that is going to increase trafficking. And
But
it absolutely
saving
is.
taxpayer money.
There's plenty of other ways. It's amazing the ways that they want to save the money and the other ways that they want to cost us money. Well, here's the thing. Bringing more people in this country, I believe California had a brilliant idea. They're going to give $300 a week to illegal immigrants coming into the country. $300 a week. I believe they're $32 billion in debt in California. But let's keep spending that money. Where are they going to get it from? From all the red states that are paying all the taxes.
Yeah. And have fiscally responsible budgets where, like Georgia and Florida and South Carolina, that actually have balanced budget amendments, and our budget's balanced. We actually have a surplus. They may be raiding that surplus to do all this.
Yeah, and Georgia can still do a better job with the budget because I've seen the budget. But I do think that they're spending incredible amounts of money on people coming into this country. It's hurtful to all of our communities here. And I think the trafficking is one of the biggest, evils that I've seen.
It is pure evil. There's no doubt about it. And unfortunately here, we had a big bust here about 10, 15 years ago, and rounded up 300 or 400 of these bad guys here. And Savannah is an easy place because I-95 runs right through here, known as the cocaine pipeline. We have one of the busiest ports in America, if not the world, also the fastest growing. And
we have 16 that go straight to Atlanta.
Yeah, so you have all sorts of opportunities for them for the trafficking to take place here. So all roads lead to Rome type thing.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the biggest things that opened my eyes too is that this is a bigger business than drugs, because you can use a child over and over again. You can only use a drug once.
Exactly.
So really sad thing to see, but I do think that this is a very powerful movie coming out. If you have the ability, buy tickets July 4th. It's out exclusively that day. But that's going to do it for us today.
Yeah. We have a movie maker here that's going to be making some great films like that as well. We'll tell you more about that as time goes along. And as far as time goes, the old clock on the wall says it's time for us to run.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care. Stay real.